Yo, what is up guys? It's Pedro here, and in today's video I'll be talking about a bunch of different players that ESPN has as a good fit for the Washington Commanders, including Dallas Cowboys running back Tony Pollard. If you guys are new, make sure to subscribe, hit that like button, and that notification bell as well. Make sure you guys check out BetUS, link in the description. Alrighty, so shout out to Steve here, Air Raid Concepts on Twitter for putting out this from ESPN because I believe it's on ESPN Plus, but basically they do it every single year talking about the biggest or the best fits for the top, I don't know how many they do, maybe top 50 free agents, and they had a few that involved the Washington Commanders. The first one was Tony Pollard, and this doesn't mean that they're going to be interested in them, but it's just a discussion point and talks about the possibility of maybe the Washington Commanders going after someone like Tony Pollard or other guys on this list as well. So it says, with Antonio Gibson heading in free agency, the Commanders could target someone like Pollard on a short-term deal to create a backfield rotation with B-Rob. I like that duo. Washington could then reduce the workload for Pollard while maximizing his dual threat ability. In 5 pro seasons with the Cowboys, he had 179 receptions and rushed over 1,000 yards for a second straight season. Didn't really talk too much about scheme fit and stuff like that. Like sometimes you're like, oh, maybe he'll talk about a Cliff Kingsbury thing. I'm not completely sure who wrote this, but I wouldn't hate Tony Pollard here in DC. I just don't see the need for it, and I'm only doing it if it's very cheap, and I don't think it's going to be cheap. I think B-Rob's going to be fine. I think Chris Rodriguez is going to be fine, and you can draft a guy in the 5th round, and maybe he'll be good as well. I mean, this year, like as the main back, he's just not that guy. 1,000 yards, 250 carries, average 4 yards a carry, which is not amazing. It's not terrible, but it's not good. Had 6 touchdowns. The year before, though, on 60 fewer carries, 193 carries, he basically 59. He averaged 5.2 yards a carry, had 9 touchdowns, and then also was more efficient as a pass catcher too, getting 39 catches for 371 yards, 9.5 yards a catch, and 3 touchdowns versus this year, 55 catches, so I had way more, but only a 311 yards and 5.6 yards a catch and 0 touchdowns. So definitely had a down year and kind of shows like he's not truly he can be maybe an okay number one, but he's not an elite number one like maybe a lot of people thought he would be this season. So maybe he wants to do a 1-year cheap deal with some incentives maybe that, okay, if he has a good year, like a really good year, he'll get paid the next year like a number one back. But right now, I don't know if he's going to get a 4 or 5 year deal for a decent amount of money, not only because he's a running back, but also because he hasn't proven he can be the guy at the running back position. So for me, I would personally pass on it unless you can get him for really cheap and an incentives-based deal. Like I'm straight with B-Rob and Chris Rodriguez, and then maybe bring in someone else, either a cheap veteran or bring in a rookie in the 4th, 5th round, someone that you really like. I'm all about taking a shot on a running back every single year in the draft because a lot of these late round guys end up being good. But he was the kind of main guy, and we really haven't gotten into free agent rumors yet in terms of like things that actually matter. Once we get into the combine, which I believe is next week, that's when these rumors are going to start to flow because a lot of the agents are there. The other guy he talked about, and we'll go to Jonah Jackson. So guard for the Lions, fitting into Cliff Kingsbury's offense in Washington. Jackson would immediately upgrade the right guard position. Well, I don't know if he would play right guard because Sam Cosmi's an absolute beast at right guard. He can keep the pocket firm in pass protection. He posts a pass block win rate of 93.2 in Detroit. That's needed in DC as Commanders allowed 65 sacks in 2023, tied for most or second most in the NFL. But Jackson's also an interior mauler who could create daylight in the run game, which could help spring Brian Robinson. So talked about his fit in the offense. He didn't really elaborate much on it, but he did talk about how Jonah Jackson does fit into the offense, which is something that you want. And then also he would probably play left guard. I don't know. They would probably see what Cosmi's more comfortable with, but I would assume you probably want Jonah at left guard and Cosmi at right guard because he played fine there, and I'm assuming Jonah can play good at left guard. So I wouldn't mind that at all. I really wouldn't mind that. And then you can still draft a guy in the 2nd, 3rd round at center/guard, but I honestly prefer drafting a guard versus signing a guy for a lot of money in the offseason, because I think you can find a lot of good guys this year in the draft. The draft's very deep, so I'm not saying I'm opposed to Jonah Jackson, but I rather go after someone in the in the draft. And a huge shout out to BetUS for sponsoring today's video and sponsoring the entire 2023 to 2024 NFL season for this channel. They're a great sportsbook. They've got great customer service. They're very reliable. So many different sports that you can bet on. Right now, you got college basketball and you got Champions League as well coming up, or this past week and coming up in the next few weeks as well. NBA is going to come back after the All-Star break next week, and you got other soccer you can bet on as well. And they've got a great new deal where they'll give you 125% bonus, not on your first deposit, but your first 3 deposits with the promo code JOIN125. So all caps, JOIN125. So make sure you guys check them out. The link will be in the description. It's always the first link in the description for all my videos. So make sure you guys check them out. And yeah, bet responsibly. All right, so back to the video. Again, a huge shout out to BetUS. Check them out. Link in the description. Great deals over there. So we talked about Jonah Jackson a little bit. We talked about Tony Pollard. Not a huge fan of either of the moves. Tony Pollard, again, both of them depend. I would be honestly solid. Like, I would be happy with Jonah Jackson. Depends on the price. I think there is a good alternative in the draft and getting, guys in the second, third round. I mean, we have 2 second-round picks, 2 third-round picks. Maybe we'll even have more. So we have a lot that we can work with right now, and I think we can, use that to retool this offensive line, especially at the guard position. That, guys that can come in and step in right away and ball out. And, Jonah Jackson can do that, but we have Cosme, and we definitely need to overhaul this offensive line, but it's also going to take time. I mean, we have Andrew Wiley, who's under contract for a few more years, or at least 2 more years. Like, we can't even cut him this year, or we can cut him, but we'll lose money. So there's no reason to cut him. You might as well have him as a backup or the starter, unfortunately. And then Cosme obviously sticking around. Nick Gates, you're probably going to lose money with him if you cut him, or it's going to be very minimal gain. So it's not great, not a great situation that they were put in, with, I don't know who that was, whether it was Bieniemy. I know, well, definitely Bieniemy was the reason why they got Wiley, but Nick Gates also has been a disaster. So, had a bad season. Let's be a little nice there, but maybe he'll rebound this year. But he was benched at the end of the season, and I think he even was inactive for a lot of the games. And yeah, just not a great season for him or Andrew Wiley, but they're stuck with them, and so they might not be able to replace 3-4 guys in the offensive line like we want them to this year. It might just be 1 or 2. And hey, if those 1 or 2 work out, that's fine, because then the next year you'll be able to move on from Wiley, maybe Leno this year or next year. But I don't Leno's not a huge problem. He's not good. I mean, he's not great. He's sometimes he's average, sometimes a little below average, maybe at times a little bit above average. But Wiley's a much bigger issue than him. But we'll get into another guy, and that is Kyle Duggar, who they said was a good fit for the Commanders. And that's interesting because, Curl's a free agent, and they had Cameron Curl leaving. That's what Steve said. Not sure where they had him ranked or what team they said. But sliding the versatile Duggar into Dan Quinn's defense makes a lot of sense. With his rare position versatility at 6'2" and 228 pounds, Duggar can be deployed at multiple levels and sub-package personnel to create impact production. Over 4 seasons in New England, he had 343 tackles, 9 picks, 2 forced fumbles, and 2.5 sacks. You can look at his stats right here. Here they are for the last 4 years. I think he was a second-round pick a few years ago. Relatively healthy. Most games he's missed is 2. And then when did they start playing 17? Was that 2022? So, he's barely missed any games, which is good. So hopefully if he comes here, that doesn't, continues to happen, knock on wood. But he's got, 2.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries, 9 interceptions, 2 touchdowns in 2022. And some more stats here that you can see. Did he return any punts? I guess he returned some kicks. So just some more information there about him. So yeah, from me, I'm fine with Kyle Duggar. And I understand if they don't want to keep Cam Curl because it is a new staff, and maybe they don't love Cam Curl. Maybe they're not as attached to him, and maybe they rather bring in their own guy. I understand if that's the case. I do still want to try to bring back Cam Curl. Definitely, I think could get him for cheaper than Duggar, because as good as Curl is, he doesn't have that ball production that even Duggar has. I mean, Duggar has good ball production, 9 picks in 4 years. That's averaging over 2 a year. I think Cam Curl has, 2 total interceptions over 4 years. Like, at a certain point, that is a little bit on him, but also it's good that he's not getting thrown at a lot. But he does, need to, that is what you get paid as a safety to do. A big part of it is getting interceptions, and of course most of it is coverage, but if you want to get paid the big bucks, you have to be able to get picks, and Cam Curl hasn't been able to do that. He has been able to stay healthy though, so I don't think he's going to get the top of the top line money for the safety position. I think he'll get a decent amount, but I could see the Commanders going after a different safety or not bringing back Cam Curl and bringing someone in like Kyle Duggar or another option. But yeah, that's it for today's video. Hope you guys did enjoy. We'll continue to bring you guys some more free agent rumors and guys I want to target. Thanks for watching, and peace.